Good, happy Friday morning, February 22, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First step, plow truck pushes snow ice off overpass in Newington, striking AMR van. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Siobhan Lopez.
We're Rhymes Propane and Oil, and no one beats us. No one has a lower price on home heating oil in your area than we do. But if another company does, we'll beat their price. If you can see this ad, we can service you. Rhymes, meeting your energy needs for over 40 years. Learn more at rhymes.com.
A terrifying moment caught on a dash camera. You can see the American Medical Response employee grip the steering wheel, bracing himself for the wall of snow coming off a bridge right on top of his vehicle.
Kept his cool, pulled over to the side of the road, contacted the needed personnel so we could respond to handle the situation.
A DOT plow was clearing the overpass above the Spalding Turnpike in Newington when some ice and snow pushed through the fence onto the highway below. The impact smashed the windshield and sent glass flying at the driver.
Minor injuries from the glass that came inside the cab.
Luckily, the driver will be okay and no one else was in the vehicle.
If there was a patient on board, we would have to find another vehicle to come in and continue on with that transport and evaluate to make sure there were no injuries.
While it could have been worse, officials urge people to use this as a teaching moment, to always be alert on the road, especially after a storm.
One of the things we want to stress is Jessica's Law, safety out there. Make sure that vehicles in the wintertime have their roofs cleared off, because even this was something from an overpass, a car in front could have caused the same kind of damage from ice flying off it.
The state police is investigating this incident. Troopers also responded to nearly 80 crashes all across the state today due to slick driving conditions this morning. We're live in Auburn tonight. Siobhan Lopez, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Climber dies in fall on Mount Washington. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Jessica Moran.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart.
Well, Jen, the U.S. Forest Service says the man was an experienced climber who slipped while in the Huntington Ravine area and fell 300 feet. Officials say 37-year-old Jeremy Ullman of Somerville died on February 10th. They say he had 2 ice axes, and markings in the snow indicate one of them dragged for a long distance. Ullman was a neuroscientist at Boston Children's Hospital. They released a statement saying, in part, his untimely death is deeply felt here at Boston Children's. Jeremy was passionate about his work and devoted to his family. We extend our deepest sympathy to Jeremy's family. Ullman's obituary says he is survived by a wife and 3-year-old son. In studio, Jessica Moran, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Suspect in kidnapping and sex assault indicated by grand jury. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tom Griffith.
Instead of shoveling snow this season, get your own Kubota BX tractor with your choice of snow removal.
The man accused of kidnapping a woman and her 5-year-old son from the Mall of New Hampshire has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Everett Simpson is charged with 4 counts. He's accused of leaving a Vermont drug treatment center before traveling to Manchester, where the alleged kidnapping happened. Simpson then allegedly drove the mother and son back to Vermont, where the woman says she was sexually assaulted. Simpson was later arrested in Pennsylvania. He's set now to be arraigned tomorrow in Vermont.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Senate unanimously passes bill to protect New Hampshire businesses from paying sales tax to other states. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we met.
It's considered a confusing, even costly Supreme Court ruling for many New Hampshire retailers.
What it would require is states like New Hampshire that don't have a sales tax, it would require our businesses to collect a sales tax on behalf of other states.
A lot is at stake nationwide, with online sales steadily increasing. The U.S. Census Bureau says in just a 3-month time frame last year, online sales made up more than 9% of all sales in the U.S., more than $121 billion, and that figure has more than doubled since 2009. Senate President Donna Soucy says this bill would require other states to go through the New Hampshire Attorney General's office to collect their sales taxes or customer information.
It's really important for both small and large businesses here in the state that we provide some guidance and some protections to ensure that they're not left holding the bag collecting taxes for states that aren't New Hampshire.
A similar bill passed the Senate but died in the House during a special session last September, with concerns the bill could be found unconstitutional. The Senate president says the fate could be different now that Democrats have the majority in both chambers. Governor Sununu has said he would fiercely protect New Hampshire's sales tax-free status. In Concord, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Flu-related death toll up to 7 in New Hampshire this season. No pediatric flu-related death reported, officials say. 7 flu deaths have now been reported this season, according to updated data provided by New Hampshire health officials. The victims, who were all adults, were residents of Chester, Grafton, Merrimack, Stratford, and Sullivan counties. Like the most U.S. states, the flu is still considered to be widespread in New Hampshire. No New Hampshire children have died of the flu this season. Because of delays in the electronic filing of death certificates, the newly identified case may have occurred at any point during the season and not necessarily within the last week. Officials said the illness is especially dangerous for the young, old, and those with underlying health concerns. The flu is most contagious in the first 24 to 48 hours of infection, often before people realize they have it. Experts said that's why washing hands and covering coughs are so important. Those with the flu should stay home from school or work until they're fever-free for at least 24 hours. It's also not too late to get the vaccine, either as a shot or nasal spray. Man accused of setting bus at homeless shelter on fire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
If you're seeing this ad, that means you can get home heating oil for the lowest price available in your area. From Rhymes Propane and Oil. Reliable service and the lowest oil prices guaranteed. Rhymes, serving your energy needs for over 40 years. Learn more at rhymes.com.
The shuttle bus belonging to the Southern New Hampshire Rescue Mission, a religious homeless shelter in Nashua, is now beyond repair after it was lit on fire Tuesday night, a fire that spread to a nearby apartment.
Unfortunately, one of the residents here, like I said, that was on site, was arrested for arson.
That resident is 27-year-old Brandon Middaugh, who authorities say came to the shelter late Tuesday and, according to shelter staff, was acting suspicious.
Unfortunately, he made a bad choice.
Nashua police say Middaugh started the fire and assaulted someone in the parking lot.
He's been with us for about a year. We've been working to help him out. He's been doing really, really good. So we'll continue to pray for him.
Middaugh was arrested for arson, simple assault, and resisting arrest.
We have these unfortunate circumstances where people make a bad choice, but what we're trying to encourage this gentleman to do is to get into a rehab, get his life back on track. The consequences are real and serious.
He faced those charges in court on Wednesday.
He is currently being held without bail on a preventative detention due to the dangerousness, the seriousness of the offense. When you're in that close proximity to a bunch of apartment buildings, that could very well catch on in putting a lot of people in a small area in danger.
Shelter staff are grateful no one was hurt.
Ultimately, we want him back in our community as a productive member of society, and we believe he's certainly capable of that. So that's our desire, that's our heart.
Certainly a good message there. Now, we are told that organizations have reached out to the shelter about replacing the bus, which staff here are obviously extremely grateful for. We're live in Nashua tonight. Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Retired Navy SEAL gets prosthetic leg at Manchester company. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Cherise LeClaire.
Instead of shoveling snow this season, get your own Kubota BX tractor with your choice of snow.
What every SEAL learns to do at Bud's training is not to quit.
Rick Kaiser strikes you as someone who doesn't even have the word quit in his vocabulary.
If you can last through 6 months of that, you're going to make it.
The retired Navy SEAL Master Chief served on SEAL Team 2 and SEAL Team 6 for 34 years. He earned a Silver Star for his valor in the Battle of Mogadishu in Somalia. He now runs the Navy SEAL Museum in Florida, giving back to veterans and their families across the country.
Now, if these guys did a good job, it'll all fit.
We recently met Rick as he was being fit for a new prosthetic leg at Next Step Bionics and Prosthetics. He's been working with President Matt Albuquerque and Clinical Director Jason Lala for several months now, more than 2 years after his accident happened.
I was coming in too hot, and I literally ripped the foot off of my leg.
Rick had numerous surgeries that left him with chronic pain, but a New Hampshire connection Rick had made through his time spent putting on events and helping veterans could bring him here.
The first person I saw who was a Navy SEAL was jumping out of a helicopter.
It was Phil Taub's first introduction to Rick, where he was watching a Navy SEAL demonstration in Florida. Phil calls it his aha moment.
We had been talking about starting our own charity, trying to do something for veterans, and trying to do something up at Newfound Lake.
Since that chance meeting, Phil, his wife Julie, and Rick have been putting on Swim with a Mission. The fundraiser connects veterans and their families to valuable resources. Rick didn't know when he helped start it that he would end up benefiting from those same services.
It changed the trajectory of our life, as a matter of fact, because we were actually planning on doing, we were looking at going in a different direction and didn't know. It was scary.
In order to be a candidate for a prosthesis being developed in December, Rick underwent a surgery so rare he's one of only 16 in the world who's had it. It's called the Ewing amputation.
He'll be able to move his muscles in such a way that when a prosthetic componentry comes out, if he wants to lift his toes, the prosthesis will actually lift its toes.
It's currently in development at MIT. Rick hopes to one day benefit from it. But until then, he'll use this prosthetic leg, made at Next Step's very own on-site lab.
We're ready to go.
Just 5 days after trying on his first prosthesis ever, Rick, his wife Barbara, and dog Jessie walked together out of Matt's office.
Through this whole amputation procedure and Next Step and Matt and Jason and everybody that supported me and given me a new leg and a new lease on life, and I mean, they're paying me back, so now I have to give 10 times more than that, so that's my goal.
Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Stocks set to open mixed aimed weak data U.S.-China trade talks. U.S. stocks feature are pointing to a flat open on the final trading day of the week as investors designated soft economic data and monitor developing trade talks with China. And we have some new details. ISIS bride sues U.S. to enter aimed citizenship fight debate over fleeing fighters. Trump administration has said she is not a citizen and is a terrorist. The father of a so-called ISIS bride who was born and raised in the U.S. and now wants to return home with her son has sued the Trump administration after it declined that she is not a citizen and has no right to enter the country. And that's it for the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.